Lighting, it kind of evolved. It wasn't something I went after. Like you said, you don't grow up saying, oh, I want to be a lighting director for rock and roll bands.
Charles Cosmo Wilson is one of the most accomplished lighting directors in rock, illuminating bands like Aerosmith, AC/DC, Def Leppard, Meat Loaf, Scorpions, and more. He can still remember the moment 30 years ago at the Olympic Stadium in Berlin when he first realized how special his position was while running lights for the Rolling Stones.
And they're playing, you can't always get what you want. At some point in the song, he wants the audience to sing, Mick Jagger wants. So I bring up all the audience lights. So I look out around me because, I'm just sitting there as they're singing and everybody's got their hands in the air and everybody's smiling and they're all singing the words and Mick's up on stage doing this. And I'm looking at this going, I'm even getting goosebumps thinking about it now. How lucky am I to be a part of something that brings so much happiness to so many people at the same time? There's nothing like it.
He's toured with over 40 bands, including Rod Stewart, Foreigner, and Motley Crue. But if rock is a business for the young, you sure wouldn't know it. At an age where many are winding down, Wilson is thirsty for more, loving what he does, loving life on the road, and hoping to keep it going as long as he can.
It's incredible to me that I am one of the few people who do lights for these bands. And you're right, there's a whole stable of young people wanting to do this.
And wanting to take your job.
Well, yeah.
And you're how old now?
I just turned 60 about a month ago. The one thing that the industry does appreciate is experience. Because you're not only doing a job, you're dealing with a band, and the band want that kind. It's not just experience in your, lighting experience, it's your experience dealing with rock stars, dealing with fame, celebrities. Also your experience in dealing with complicated situations or problems. When things go wrong, it's like a pilot. The engine goes out. You want a guy that's like 65 years old, has been flying for 40 years.
Aging is great if you've taken care of yourself over the years, but rock bands, touring, and clean living haven't always gone hand in hand.
I mean, you take, AC/DC is one band, but you take someone like Aerosmith, or a band like Aerosmith, who are famous for abusing. They'll be the first one to tell you they did lots of drugs and lots of alcohol. Fortunately, they stopped, a while ago, and they're very healthy now, and they're very well aware. But you're right, I do look at them and go, how long will this last? And we're all mortal, and we're all well beyond what we thought we would be. I mean, if you would have asked me 30 years ago, when I first started, with AC/DC, or 35 years ago, or 42 years ago when I first started the business, what I would be doing when I was 60, I would have never said running lights for AC/DC and Aerosmith. I was 20 years ago, I wouldn't have probably said that, But here I am.
And do you like it as much?
I probably love it more.
And it's good to know the iconic, legendary musicians that he works with are a big part of the reason why.
People that I work for a long time, they become my family. They become as close, if not closer than family. There's Brian Johnson, the singer for AC/DC, this unbelievable, iconic guy that I put on a pedestal. And then there's Brian Johnson, my friend. We can sit back and have a beer and watch an IndyCar race, or a Formula One race, or have a barbecue together.
Are they good people? Are they?
Yeah, they really are. I got to say, musicians. People say. I mean, you hear rumors. They're difficult to work with. They're hard to work with. They're pain to work with. People like, I find this with most musicians, especially Steven Tyler, he sees the whole picture. He sees how important it is for the show. Not just his performance, but the lights that look good, the sound, the effects, everything they do. He sees that whole thing. He's not a control freak in that sense. He is in the sense that he wants to make sure everything is good, but that's why he hires people like me and other people to put in place to do their magic. And people will say he's difficult to work with, but he's challenging in a good way. The best bands that I work for push you beyond the outside of the envelope and, make you think outside the box. Steven's always wanting me to come up with better ideas and some special thing just to make the audience go, wow. They're great people to work with, and they make me do better. And I prefer that kind of a band. This is the crew. The last dinner we had as a big crew, it was the end of tour party.
Despite being surrounded by tens of thousands of people a night, touring can be a lonely experience. Life on the road isn't easy. There are temptations and frustrations. The only way to survive, he says, is with appreciation.
When I go to sleep at night, I appreciate the day I've had. I mean, I'm thankful. That's one thing with my life is gratitude. I try to get that across to my friends. It's about gratitude, it's being thankful. I mean, everybody complains and stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm grateful for everything that happened today, that, you know, whatever happened that day, you know. And even the bad things, I'll try to garner something out, the goodness out of it, you know. I want to run lights for these bands as long as they continue to play. I mean, what am I going to do after? Will it end? I mean, obviously the older bands, it'll end, but what's, you know, I mean, you look at Taylor Swift fill stadiums, you know, there's a lot of younger bands, you know, fill stadiums. Could I do something like that? Very possibly. It's, you know, we'll see what kind of genre of music occurs in the next decade.
Looking forward to the next decade. Shouldn't we all be? Because with Cosmo Wilson running the lights, the future sure looks bright.